I'm starting a new project which I've announced on Instagram, so some of you may already know it a bit. This is a Magic Factory M2A4 Bradley. If I had to describe this set in one word, I would say awesome. You can find the entire review on my channel and the link to this video is in the description. Initially I was wondering what to show you in the construction part, because the model was so easy to build that it would be extremely boring to show the plastic assembly. Let's say that here is a very abbreviated report on the work on the model, in which I will only point out the work that I consider worth mentioning. First, I masked the periscopes with masking tape. It may not be a sophisticated operation, but if we had transparent parts, it's worth using this advantage. And there are quite a lot of them in this model, because in addition to the periscopes there are also armored glass shields on the turret. The second thing is the towing cable. Here, if you know my work, it's probably not a surprise. I replaced the plastic element with a product from Eureka XXL. Of course you have to cut off the rope fasteners, but it's not a complicated operation. Metal rope with resin ends looks much better, and this is out of discussion. Attaching the panels to the entire model is like building with Lego bricks. Everything fits perfectly and it's only a matter of time how quickly we'll get it done. Note photo-etched elements. The ventilation meshes fit perfectly and their weave is very delicate. Lovely! After 4 days of work I have a ready model. If you would like to ask whether it's worth replacing any element in it, I can say that you can consider the tracks and barrel of the Bushmaster cannon. But in my opinion there is no such necessity. However, if so, you could also consider changing the antenna sockets. And this is how the Bradley presents. We can say it's a beautiful piece of plastic. That's all for today, see you next time, cheers! I was joking. Okay, what do we have here? I decided to add 2 crew members. I chose a set from Mini Art and additionally resin heads from Alpine. The first figure in the green jacket is unchanged, but the second one has a different hand that better suits the position he has standing in the hatch. Additionally, a few wires for the headphone cables, and we have a crew ready to paint. Some of the elements were attached to the photos and general presentation with several pieces of blue tack. These are elements that are planned to be in Kark colors, so it will be much more convenient to paint them separately. Attaching them to wooden sticks will facilitate work and manipulation while painting. On the other hand, painting NATO camo will be also easier. I glued a nut inside of the hull. Of course it's supposed to be a handle that will be helpful during painting and weathering. As you can see, this proven method is effective and fulfills its purpose 100%. Classical cleaning of the entire model with model degreaser gives me confidence that the paint will adhere well to the surface. And I save time because this product evaporates within a few seconds. I covered the metal elements with a layer of primer specially created for this purpose. It's worth paying attention not to clog the holes in the mesh on the engine with excessive amount of product. That's why I apply small amounts and wipe these elements with a brush. Typically, the first stage of painting is the preparation of rubber rims. Dark grey paint is best for this. When the tracks are glued, the inner wheels are already glued, so we have to put in some effort to paint the wheels, even just a little. In this case I don't worry about the accuracy, because after weathering the blur is almost invisible. Of course it's best if the wheels are separate, but in this case it wasn't a good solution. First, the sandy shade for additional armor. For this I used paint from the modern US AVF colors set from AK Interactive. New packaging and, to be more precise, new plastic paint containers, but the paint itself is a proven quality that we have known for a long time. Please note that the model has not been covered with any primer. The job done by model degreaser is sufficient. I decided to prepare 3 sand color wheels to increase the contrast, of course. The set includes a single stencil for painting wheels, which is worth using. The base color is not a green. There is no great philosophy here. You need to copy the camo pattern provided by the producer or use available materials found on the internet. To tell the truth, they are slightly different, but it's not a big surprise to me. There is probably a factory painting scheme, I'm sure of that, but unfortunately I haven't found it. But I found it correct in this moment to mention my wonderful patrons who support my activity. Massive thanks, guys! The people who helped me the most are Bulldog09, Christopher Obarski, Dan Dubois, Dan Mike Shack, Hans Zap, Karsten Ikedi and Steve Ankin. But the people listed just now are also my great patrons. Please don't forget that you can be one of them. And I realize it's not easy these days, but if you have a few bucks you could drop in my cup, that would be great. Thanks! Oh, and one more thing. Remember that if you join for free you probably won't be able to view my work. Better try the 7 days free trial, which will give you many more possibilities. When all the camo blocks were painted, I glued all the sand painted elements. No problem, just a little glue. I started painting the details with the towing cable and shackles at the front and rear of the vehicle. If you want to see how I paint towing cables in different variants, check the link in the video description. Using the diluted paint I made a few scratches along the way just for fun. I slightly darkened the metal net over the engine. I painted diluted smoke black and in order not to cover the holes in the mesh, I blew it with airbrush every few moments. I painted the small elements with a lighter shade of green. To paint the trucks I made a mixture of 3 colors: gunmetal, natural silver and pale grey. Thanks to this it was not very metallic but retained a delicate silver shine. I know that for many of you this color of painting trucks is almost like blasphemy, but the truth is that they get this color if they work in the field just a bit. And this is the vehicle I'm building. Not a museum exhibit that stands outdoors for years, but a machine that covers the terrain every day, causing the trucks to work and wrap in every place. If you have any doubts, look at the photos from the war in Ukraine, where you can see the trucks of machines serving on the front. The only dark brown you will find there is mud. And what is interesting, there is no rust, only beautiful polished truck links. So before you apply any color again, think carefully. I painted the rubber pads with rubber black from Real Color. Painting tools is a topic that often causes some controversy. Of course, I know that in real vehicles these elements are often camo colored, but due to the increased attractiveness of the model's appearance I cannot convince myself to use such a solution. Maybe it's also because I'm used to this kind of painting, which has been repeated on each model for many years. Now it's done almost mechanically and I always remind myself to try to do it more realistically when it's all over. Another controversial effect is highlighting of the details. On the camo colors I use grey for black, cork for brown and medium olive for green. Visually I really like this effect, even though it's 100% not real. The only realistic option would be to paint it silver to give the effect of the paint being wiped off by the soldiers. But it was a walk in the park, in contrast to painting dots on sand, which was a disaster for my eyes. For this I used pale sand. I don't even want to count how many heads are there, enough to make me feel tired, but it was worth it. To glue the headlight lenses I used Crystal Magic glue from AK Interactive. Thanks to the applicator you can apply the glue precisely and additionally have plenty of time to properly arrange the glasses, which in my case turned out to be very useful. It wasn't fun having to fiddle with positioning the glass when I had recording on. Already at this stage I glued in the antennas made of 0.2mm plastic profile. These antennas look a bit thinner in the photos, but using wire was out of the question. Smoke black was used again. I painted the blinkers and brake lights with transparent paints from AK. The set of stickers is not impressive because these few inscriptions will be completely invisible on the model. Well, they are for use, so you have to use them. Before I start working with them, a thin layer of shiny varnish from Modeler's World appeared on the entire model. This will facilitate the application of transfer as well as the subsequent application of washes. These large uniform surfaces are very tempting to add some unique markings to them. I was thinking about adding some extra decals because I have a set with the Transformers logo in my collection. Maybe it would look cool, but on the other hand I didn't want to overdo it. From what can be seen in the photos, US army vehicles even during warfare are not as dirty as the equipment of other armies. I will save it for another model. All decals were soaked in a special liquid which finally set them on the paint surface. Now just apply a thin layer of glossy varnish and the job is done. Well, the main painting is ready. I like this color combination, although I know that the weathering I'm planning may mute them a bit. That's what I will show you in the next episode. It's possible that there will be something more there as well, so stay tuned. That's all for today, see you next time, cheers!